Yeah, I can imagine. Are you ready for the difficult question, Martyn?
Yeah, fire away.
All right, so at the end of that season, the Scunthorpe game, there was what we now refer to as the infamous lap of shame that you all took at the final whistle. I was still there. I don't know, Nick, if you were one of the 2,000 or so that remained inside Bramall Lane. It was toxic, it was hostile, and unfortunately, Martyn, at the end of that, it was reported by some that you made the V sign to fans at the end of the season during that lap. Can you tell us what really happened there?
It weren't during the lap. It was I got subbed about 20 minutes from the end, and the 25,000 Sheffield United fans had give it a sarcastic cheer at my removal, and being in front of the Scunthorpe United fans as well, and it definitely weren't the two fingers. It was a thumbs up, and in all honesty, it was a bit of a sarcastic thumbs up in return to the sarcastic cheering that were going off. But it definitely weren't the two fingers. I can hand on heart say that is the case, and that is the honest truth. There was, as I say, there was a bit of sort of sarcasm in the thumbs up, and I probably shouldn't have even done that. I regretted it instantly, especially when I got back to my phone and saw my Twitter account absolutely blowing up with abuse from the fans that did think that I'd stuck the twos up. And I can remember after that we had the end of season do. That just weren't a nice thing to be a part of in itself. After the season that had been there, it's kind of like no one really wanted to be there. It just sort of, we had a team night out arranged afterwards. No one really fancied doing that. And I can remember speaking to Andy Crosby afterwards and saying, "Look, what do I do? Do I put out on Twitter an apology for that and explain that it weren't what it's being perceived as, or what do I do?" I was quite distraught actually, because like I say, I was getting absolute dog's abuse on Twitter after the game, and as I say, instantly regretted sort of reacting in any way, let alone it certainly wasn't the way that it being perceived by the sort of other end of the stadium. But he just said, no, just leave it. It'll die down, and just come back next season. And as I say, that was part of the reason leaving after that day. Is again that I'd sort of got the bit between my teeth to sort of, right, I've really got some making up to do here. So. That in itself, I do wonder if that in itself had played any part in sort of how I got treated when I came back. I look at it, like I say, I know Wilder's a Sheffield United fan, and if he's been offended by that in the same way that some of the fans didn't, thinking it was what it was, then maybe there might have been something in there. But I can hand on heart say that it weren't two fingers. I would never be that disrespectful as sort of, no matter how sort of disappointed, angry, frustrated I was, it certainly weren't that. It was just the accumulation of the whole season, being sort of embarrassed in front of the Sheffield United, in front of the Scunthorpe United fans, as well. That played a part in it, and to be, like I say, booed off, sort of sarcastically cheered off by. When by your home team when they're making the sub to take you off, it's tough. It's tough, and like I say, it was just a heat of the moment thing, just to sort of, I was just like, oh, cheers.
I don't remember that at all, Nick. Because I mean, that's why I said I thought it was a lap of honour, and I'm only basing that off what people have told me, because I don't remember it at all. And it was only in doing this research that it came up. And in a way, I'm sorry to bring it back up, because you say Andy Crosby said it'll die down. Here we are 6 years later bringing it back up. But Nick, do you remember it at all?
No, not at all.
Okay, good. It's not just me. It's not as infamous then, Martyn. It's not as infamous as you may feel, because if Nick and I don't recall it, and we were both at that game, and I had to look it up, and someone told me it was during the lap of honour, so I apologise. I thought it was, but
yeah. In fairness, there were some fans on Twitter that were saying it weren't two. It was a thumb, because I did. I think I did comment back on something, and as I say, there were one or two in amongst the hundreds of other comments that were getting. There was like the odd one or two saying, "No, I did actually see a thumb." So yeah, it's one of those things. And to be fair, if I'd have put something out on Twitter there, I would have probably sort of shirked around the fact of it there being any sarcasm in there and saying, "Oh no, it was just thumbs up," but it wasn't. There were a bit of that in there, but it weren't. It definitely weren't meant in any as disrespectful as sort of the twos. The twos would be, but I shouldn't have done it anyway. It was petty. I just reacted to it was just the bubbling up of a whole frustrating season, and to kind of go off there in front of your old club that you're highly regarded in, and you're sort of getting you're getting that from your own fans. It was just a little bit. It was tough, and I just reacted. But as I say, I can hand on heart say that it weren't two fingers.